when it comes to the lottery. The stories are just as famous as the jackpots. You probably heard them. Every lottery winner goes broke. Winning the jackpot ruins your life, or the opposite, win the lottery and you'll be happy forever. These tales spread quickly because they're dramatic, emotional, and sometimes a little scary. But here's the thing, a lot of these stories aren't actually true. They're myths, catchy exaggerations we repeat, because they make good headlines. In today's video, we're going to unpack some of the biggest myths about winning the lottery. And to make it real, I'll share examples of actual winners whose stories show that the truth is more complicated and often a lot more hopeful than the myth suggests.
Myth number 1. All lottery winners go broke. Let's start with the most popular myth, that all lottery winners eventually lose everything. You've probably heard the shocking statistic that 70% of lottery winners go broke within a few years. It sounds dramatic, but it's also not true. That number is often attributed to the National Endowment for Financial Education, or NEFE. But NEFE itself has publicly said they've never done such a study and can't confirm that number at all. In fact, there's no large-scale, long-term data that tracks lottery winners' financial outcomes over their lifetimes, and because many winners choose to remain anonymous, there's simply no way to get a complete picture. Most of what we do know comes from individual stories or smaller studies. Still, news outlets keep repeating this 70% claim because it makes a juicy headline. The reality? Some winners do lose their fortunes, but many others thrive. Then there's Gil Cisneros, who won a $266 million jackpot in 2010. Far from going broke, he became a philanthropist and later served as a U.S. congressman. His win didn't ruin him. It gave him a platform to serve others. So no, it's not a universal fact that all winners go broke. It's a myth fueled by a false statistic, a lack of definitive long-term research, and the fact that many winners stay private. The truth is far more varied, and sometimes even inspiring. Myth number 2. Winning the lottery always ruins your life. Another myth says winning a jackpot is basically a curse, that it brings nothing but unhappiness. Again, the truth is more balanced. Consider the story of Brad Duke, who won $220 million in 2005. Instead of letting it ruin him, Duke carefully invested, built charitable programs, and turned his win into a long-term success story. Compare that to other winners who did face challenges, and you see a spectrum. Yes, sudden wealth can bring stress, new pressures, and unwanted attention. But it doesn't always ruin lives. In many cases, it gives people the freedom to retire, help family, or pursue dreams. It depends less on the money itself and more on what you do with it. Myth number 3. Winners are instantly happy forever. On the flip side, there's also the fairy tale myth that winning guarantees endless happiness. The idea that money solves every problem is tempting, but psychologists have studied this and found something fascinating. While there's usually a big happiness spike right after the win, people eventually return to something called their baseline. That means if you were fairly happy before, you'll probably still be fairly happy after. If you struggled with stress or relationships before, money alone won't magically fix it. Take Jane Park, who made headlines in the UK as one of the youngest lottery winners when she hit a £1 million prize at age 17. Although she initially experienced the expected euphoria, interviews reveal that the long-term effects were more complex. Media scrutiny, lifestyle shifts, and emotional challenges all played a role. Her story reinforces that a windfall doesn't guarantee sustained happiness. It often just becomes a new normal. Myth number 4. Only desperate people, or poor people, play the lottery. This one's a double myth. First, that lottery players are desperate or reckless. Second, that only poor people play. The truth? Lottery players come from all walks of life. Studies do show that lower-income individuals spend a higher percentage of their income on tickets, which fuels the stereotype. But in terms of sheer volume, people across all income levels play, especially when jackpots get huge. You'll find office pools in corporate towers, retirees in suburbs, and everyday folks all buying tickets. Even wealthy individuals sometimes join in, like businessman Jack Whitaker, already worth millions when he won a $314.9 million Powerball jackpot, or NBA star Gilbert Arenas, who once pocketed $300,000 in a lottery win while already making millions on the court. For many, the lottery isn't desperation, it's entertainment. That $2 ticket buys a moment of imagination. What if? It's no different than spending money on a movie ticket or a cup of coffee. So while there are economic patterns in play, The myth that only poor people or only desperate people buy tickets is just not true. The lottery is more universal than that. Myth number 5. Big jackpots always destroy communities. Sometimes people say that big wins wreck not only the winner's life, but also their whole community. But that's not always true either. Some winners do face unwanted attention from neighbors or friends, yes, but others use their winnings to build up their communities. Take Tom Christ from Calgary, Canada. When he won $40 million in 2013, he gave almost all of it to charity in honor of his late wife. His community was strengthened, not destroyed, by his win. It shows that a jackpot can be a force for good when handled with generosity. Myth number 6. It's all just luck. You can't prepare. It's true that the ticket itself is pure luck. You can't predict the numbers. But what comes after the win isn't luck at all. It's planning. The winners who tend to thrive are the ones who surround themselves with financial advisors, attorneys, and supportive friends or family. They prepare for taxes, invest wisely, and set boundaries. Ronald Willis, who won $120 million in 2012. Willis managed his windfall carefully, ensuring long-term security rather than falling into the trap of reckless spending. His story is a reminder that with discipline, winners can sustain their wealth. That's what separates the myth from the reality.
Why do these myths persist? So if the truth is so much more balanced, why do the myths live on? It comes down to storytelling. Humans are wired to remember dramatic cautionary tales. The fall from grace stories grab headlines and spread like wildfire. Quiet. Successful winners don't make front page news. But as we've seen, the reality is a spectrum. Some winners struggle, some thrive, and many just live quietly in between. The lottery has always been wrapped in myth and legend, from the idea that winners are doomed to go broke, to the fairy tale belief that money solves everything. These myths make for great stories, but they aren't the whole truth. The reality is that winning the lottery is like opening a new chapter in your life. It comes with opportunities, challenges, and choices. How the story unfolds depends less on fate and more on preparation, support, and perspective. So the next time you hear someone say, "Every winner goes broke," you'll know better. Some do, some don't. And the truth is far more interesting than the myth. Thanks for joining me today on Lottery Stories. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the myths of winning, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your favorite lottery story in the comments below. And remember, behind every ticket, there's not just a chance at money, but a story waiting to be told.